Welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us this morning for today's webinar. I am your moderator, Verna Sue at LinkedIn. I'm really excited to welcome today Rachel Williams from the Pacific Firm and Luke Baxter, a Senior Product Marketing Manager at LinkedIn. Our goal today is really to help you, as a recruiter in a small to medium-sized agency, get the most out of LinkedIn and hire the best talent for your organization. You should walk away from this webinar with concrete ideas that you can apply to your recruiting activities immediately. So just really quickly, for asking questions, we'd like to use Twitter today. So the Twitter hashtag for this webinar is LIWebinar. We encourage you to tweet questions throughout the next 45 minutes, and we'll try to answer as many as possible in our Q&A session. Now, I'd like to turn it over to Luke to introduce himself.
Hi, everybody. This is Luke here. Thank you, Verna, for the introduction here. I'm the Senior Product Marketing Manager here at LinkedIn for Hiring Solutions. I'm very excited to be hosting our first webinar today on the full suite of online products and services that we offer to help you find talent on LinkedIn. Today I'll be speaking briefly on the business and conducting some product demos. Most importantly, I'm here to help field questions, so ask away on the Twitter hashtag. And I'm really excited today to be hearing from Rachel, who's joining us here on the call. She is an expert on LinkedIn and has extensive experience recruiting for a range of leading companies in the Bay Area. She's had roles embedded within organizations and is now a director at a boutique agency. So I'd like to hand over to her now to talk a little about her experience.
Thanks, Luke. I'm Rachel Williams, a practice director with the Pacific Firm, a boutique recruiting agency in Berkeley, California. Just to tell you all a little bit about me, I've been a recruiter for about 15 years. Have had a lot of success using LinkedIn to find the best candidates. My expertise is around executive recruitment, organizational development, compensation, and strategic change. I have experience recruiting for the high-tech, life sciences, consumer products, and retail industries. Back to you, Luke.
Thanks, Rachel. The first thing I'd like to do is a brief overview of LinkedIn. I'm sure most of you are familiar with the site and the general principles of it. But a lot's been going on, and I wanted to bring you up to date. Firstly, the network continues to grow. You can see from the chart here that the numbers are exponential. We reached earlier this year 150 million members worldwide, with over half of those internationally. You can see on the right huge amounts of activity on the platform, over 4.2 billion searches, of which many are recruiting or talent related. We now have 150 industries represented on the site, which for those of you not in the traditional industries that LinkedIn has been strong with, such as technology and professional services, is something to think about. We now have members in everything from healthcare to government who are highly active on the site. And finally, Rachel will mention her experience using groups to recruit. We now have over 1 million of those groups, and these are very rich professional environments which we're committed to growing and which our members are engaging with strongly. The next thing I wanted to highlight was the range of recruiting occasions that we can serve through LinkedIn. If you're familiar with the terms active and passive, that's great. If not, I'd like to briefly explain what we're talking about there on the spectrum. On the left-hand side, we talk about active job seekers. These are folks who are on the internet searching for jobs and applying through job boards or through company websites. Our research suggests that around 20% of LinkedIn members are in this category. On the other end of the spectrum are the people we call passive candidates. These are people defined as open to opportunities but not actively looking. So they will engage in a conversation with a recruiter. They will respond to an inbound job request, that kind of thing. And we think there's around 60% of the LinkedIn membership in that category. So that's a really large chunk. When you think of 150 million people times 60%, that's a huge market of folks that you could access. And along the top of the spectrum are the three main tools on LinkedIn that allow you to reach those people. On the left-hand side is job search. When you list a job on LinkedIn, of course, it can be searched using various parameters, and you can get the highest quality active seekers on the web. On the other end of the spectrum are InMails. These are our premium messaging service, and they're the most effective way to cut through and get the attention of passive candidates on LinkedIn. It appears in their inbox, flows through to their email, and the response rate's very high, which Rachel will talk to. In the middle is an area we're concentrating on as a company, which is the nexus of passive candidates and jobs. Our flagship recommendation product is Jobs You May Be Interested in. This appears on the homepage and is also sent proactively to members via email. And this recommends jobs of best fit based on the member's profile, their activity, and the job description. And we're now seeing over half of job applications coming from our recommendations. This is a really powerful way to get people who are interested but not searching in the traditional sense. And in most cases, it's people that would not be accessible on other job advertising sites. And we'll talk more about the role of recommendations in our job ecosystem later in the broadcast. Finally, I want to reinforce what we're doing as a platform to keep LinkedIn vibrant and engaging. So on the left-hand side, there are a couple of features we launched in the last year which are driving huge amounts of engagement with professionals. First is LinkedIn Today. Some of you may be receiving this. This is our articles customized to your interests and driven by sharing an activity across your network. We're getting great feedback on the relevance of those, and I hope you try it if you haven't already. Secondly, we have the new and improved iPhone app, which has changed the way that people relate with LinkedIn on their phone, made it much more lightweight and straightforward to view updates, to update your profile, and to connect with other folks. On the right-hand side, are two specifically recruiting-related features. The first is Apply with LinkedIn, which allows people to apply across the web using their LinkedIn profile. This brings all the benefits of the LinkedIn profile with the ability to integrate with whatever systems or ATSs you or your clients are running in the back end. And we're seeing hundreds of thousands of applications with that functionality. And finally, in the bottom right, Follow Company is a recently launched feature which allows people who are interested in your company to follow and receive status updates, which in many cases would be recruiting or career related. It's a lighter weight way for professionals to show they're interested in you. It's less commitment than applying for a job, but it shows they care, they're open, and if you continue to communicate with them, they'll stay as a fresh pool of talent that you can tap into over time. So we're super excited about these four features, and we're getting great feedback. And watch this space for more to come in 2012. So that's LinkedIn at a high level. I'd now like to segue into search, and this relates most poignantly to the passive candidate pool. First thing I'd like to do is hand over to Rachel to talk about the concept of a network in the context of search and finding the right people.
Thanks, Luke. One of the best ways to find talented candidates on LinkedIn is to improve your own network, of course. So just like in real life, your network is comprised of first, second, and third degree connections. And as you can see from the graphic, the network multiplies dramatically, so the more first degree connections you build, the greater access you have to the 150 million members on LinkedIn. And the better your searches for talent will be. You can use the address book to quickly find people that you already know but have yet to connect with on LinkedIn. As a recruiter, we speak to a gazillion people a day, some of them great, some of them not so great. Keep a running list of the people that you think are great, who are interesting to you, who you may want to connect with and for future positions. Make it a habit, which is what I do, at the end of each day to send out at least 2 LinkedIn InMails to connect. These are requests to connect with potential candidates, and even future clients. This is the way that you build your network. And if you do this every day, by the end of the year, you'll have over 1,000 connections. Now, you may be thinking, who should I connect with? Well, a few suggestions. People in industries that you're recruiting in the past, so anybody you've worked with or any industry that you've worked in may have expertise in. People that you want to connect with in industries that you haven't recruited for. So if you're looking to break into the solar industry or renewable environments or, medical devices, connect with some people that you find via a press release by doing a Google search, someone who has been mentioned. That way, you can easily connect with them and say, hey, I read this press release. I would love to connect with you and stay professionally connected. The way I think about it is the more connections you have, the greater your reach will be. I next want to jump into, using groups on LinkedIn and using the groups to help find the right people. Along the same lines of unlocking your network, one of the best ways to find the right candidates is to join LinkedIn groups. There are more than 1 million groups on LinkedIn, and you can set a group digest on a daily or weekly basis. So you can control how often you get updates from these specific groups and see what's going on. A couple of things to note is that LinkedIn limits the number of groups you can join to just 50. So how I try and think about it is you can divide the group up by in sections. So I have a core 20 groups that are related to recruiting or talent acquisition that I always want to be a part of, or HR. And I'll switch these in and out depending upon the information that I receive from the groups or the type of people that are in the groups. So you can interchange your membership in the groups, which is really great. The next, I'll dedicate a set 10 or 20 to specific groups that I want to connect with. If it's a specific company alumni group, like Oracle alumni or Salesforce alumni, I'll go ahead and connect with those specific groups so that I can tap into that talent pool. Those are great companies, and they know how to recruit, and it's the easiest way to connect with them. Secondly, I think, groups are a great way to also advertise your jobs. Some of the groups allow you to update your own status. So you can send out a status to the membership of that group and say, hey, I'm a recruiter, I'm looking for XYZ skill set. If you have that skill set, email me or email me. So it's also additional advertisement, if you will. Now, groups are relatively new to LinkedIn, and I found them to be a great addition in terms of learning about new industries and refining my search as well. So I also use groups to get up to speed very quickly on industries that I'm recruiting for. If I have a new client in an industry that I haven't recruited for, the LinkedIn groups provide rich information for you to quickly get up to speed so you can speak intelligently to candidates when you finally do connect with them.
Thank you, Rachel. Those are some great points. And something I'd add on groups, building on that last point, is that members of groups are actively involved in discussions. And I hear from some recruiters that it's a great way to vet and find the real experts in an industry is the folks who are posting and getting good responses in those group discussions. So very rich way to, as Rachel said, learn about the norms of the industry, the content industry, and also find the top talent within that group. So we've talked about your own network, we've talked about groups. Now I want to talk about search beyond your network, which is a very important way of getting the largest possible talent pipeline built. So I'm going to switch here to a live search. And I'm sure many of you have used the People Search and the Advanced Search features. They're accessible through the link in the top right here. So let me just refresh this. And a good way to start is with a keyword. Let's say I'm looking to fill a product manager role. I may wish to narrow this down by country. So the default here is the United States, but we can also go more narrow with a postal code. So if we search in the Mountain View area here within a certain radius, I'm going to start the search with these parameters. And when we drop into it, you'll see 145,000 results, reinforcing the scale of the network here. And there's a bunch of things you can do to build on this search. The key one is facets. So if we look at the left-hand side here, there's a range of facets that allow you to focus down. The first point I want to make is that these facets contain information. They're ranked by the number of members in each category that you can filter by. So I can see here that within the product management talent pool in Silicon Valley, there is a concentration in some of these big companies. Cisco seems to have a lot of these guys. Google, Oracle also very strong. So let me say that I want to focus down on Google. First click. So now I've filtered down to the 2,000 results from Google. Then perhaps I want to filter by school. So say I want to filter down to Stanford grads and potentially something like years of experience. Now if I pause here, you can see some of these facets have the small gold pointer beside them. That means they're a premium feature available with subscription. There's a lot you can do for free up the top here. The main facets of region, companies, etc. But for example, experience is a premium filter. So let me say I want 6 to 10 years here. And I now have a targeted set of about 100 results of people meeting this very specific request. So once you have the results, there's a bunch of things you can do. Of course, you can send an email. You can get introduced through a connection. You can share that profile with your client or someone else in your firm. I want to focus here on saving the profile. So I can click Save. And that profile is now saved to my organizer, Kelvin Ho. Top of my list. If I return to the search, I can navigate back to the profile organizer through this link here in the top right. And this is a powerful way to build your talent pipeline and remember who you've contacted, how you've contacted, and so forth. And the final thing I want to show on search here is saving. Again, this is a great productivity boost. Rather than conducting the search every day, you can set up the search and it will email you new results. So if new people show up on LinkedIn with these profile settings, or if potentially someone's changed their title or recently moved into a role, you'll see those new results coming through. So if I save this search, I now have this product manager search accessible from the Save Searches tab. Now I realize that those are some pretty fundamental features, and there's a lot more depth to the search product than that. So I would encourage any of you out there, especially the experts who really want to understand more, to tweet your questions to #LIWebinar, and we'll deal with those as we go through the rest of the presentation. So that's a summary of search. Let me switch back to the presentation now. And move on to the topic of InMail. So once you've found the candidates you're interested in, you can send them InMail. It's a very important skill and an art, in fact, to inspire those folks to respond. Remember, these are passive candidates, so they're often employed, satisfied with their current role, not actively looking. Rachel has some of those secrets that she's going to share with you now.
Thanks, Luke. LinkedIn InMails is really the secret sauce to any great recruiter's arsenal. They're a fantastic way to reach out to passive candidates. In your InMail, you'll want to be friendly, clear, and approachable, but also very succinct. You don't want a lengthy InMail. A few key elements should always be included in your InMail. One, your contact information. I try to include both email and phone. That way, there's no confusion as to how the candidate can get in contact with you. Secondly, make sure to keep your subject line short. We all know we live in a very busy world, and we all receive hundreds of emails a day, spam, and so to make your subject line very short and funny or interesting or creative will catch the attention of that passive candidate who's not looking for a job but may be interested in your job. a few of the ones that I've used in the past are following up. So that it may be a bit misleading, but it does strike some interest. People want to know, what is she following up on? And another one I've used is head over heels. Now that one is a little bit more creative, a little bit more out of the box, but it definitely appeals to the ego of a candidate, saying that I'm head over heels for your background and your experience and think you'd be great for my job that I'm recruiting for. Thirdly, be specific as to why you're reaching out to them. You don't want to come across as having sent out 25 of these emails to 25 candidates. You want to make the candidate feel as though you've really lived through their profile, you really see something specific about their experience that would be a great fit for your client's open position. So speak to that in the email. Say, I see that you've worked at XYZ company in this technical role. This is exactly the type of experience that I'm looking for. Also, keep the job description brief. Job descriptions are very lengthy. I would just highlight one or two things that you're looking for. That way it'll entice them to go and search out the job description in its full length, either on your client's website, on your own website, or on the job posting that you have on LinkedIn. A few things to note. In-mails are available as a part of the LinkedIn Premium subscription. Nominal fee for what you get. 2, in-mails are a high response rate. From my personal experience, I average at least a 40% response rate, maybe more than that depending on the job and my in-mail. So I actually judge my response rate and adjust my in-mails depending upon the response that I receive. So if I'm not getting a great response, I tweak my in-mail. Finally, LinkedIn offers a 7-day response guarantee. So if you don't receive a response within 7 days, on the 8th day, you get that email back, and you can use it again to contact someone else. So, love emails. As soon as someone sees your email, they're going to look you up on LinkedIn. That's natural to what we're going to do as human beings. Who is this person that just sent me an email? So it's really important that you keep your profile up to date. Your profile is your platform for sharing information about yourself and about opportunities at your clients' companies. First, make sure you have a professional picture. It makes a world of difference in making your profile more human and you more accessible, and it makes candidates far more likely to respond to you when you reach out. I have a quick story. When I first started on LinkedIn, I used the same picture everywhere, on Match, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Those are not always the same picture you want to use. You want to use a professional picture on LinkedIn, a different picture for your Facebook, and a different picture for your dating website. So make sure that the picture is very professional. Candidates will know that you mean business. Secondly, you can use your status or experience sections to regularly share open jobs at clients' companies, as well as news and updates about that company. If there's a new press release that came out, you would want to post that there. This is a great opportunity to share information virally. Next up, I've included a link to my company's website. As a recruiting professional, you should link to every place a candidate can go to find out more about you, your company, whether it's a blog or Twitter feed. It's the next logical place for them to look once they've looked at your profile. Finally, I've claimed my public profile. You can do this under Settings on LinkedIn. This is your vanity URL. You can include it on your business cards, in your email signature, and so on. It's an easy way to drive candidates back to your profile, which has more information about you and opportunities at companies that you're hiring for. You'll also want to list out several specialties. Include words or phrases that, like talent acquisition, recruiting, recruiter, manager, project management. You can even include some softwares that you may typically search for or needed for clients. This will help your profile show up higher in LinkedIn searches when people are looking for, say, a recruiting professional or a candidate, or you can include it in subject areas that you've worked on. So finally, recommendations. I would ask for recommendations from past employers, hiring managers, candidates that you've placed. Make sure you ask after you've successfully finished a job, and try to continue to ask for recommendations throughout the year. This way, when someone's looking at the dates that the recommendations were posted, there's not, kind of chunks of dates. Oh, she only asked for recommendations in the month of May. You want to make sure that it's consistent, because I'm sure we're all doing great work throughout the year. And in essence, you want to catch people when they are particularly positive about your work. So make sure that you kind of ask a client soon after making that hire. It's a great way to build your reputation instantly as people are able to see the quality of your past work. And as you get more recommendations, you can actually manage them and determine which ones to make visible. Next, we'll discuss why you should post your jobs on LinkedIn, as well as advertise and manage them. So some of you may be asking, why post on LinkedIn versus other job sites? I can speak as an agency recruiter. I usually either post jobs on behalf of my client or encourage them to post their jobs on LinkedIn. You could post on other job boards like Monster or Craigslist to get a broader audience. However, posting on LinkedIn allows you to really get the best, most professional candidates. LinkedIn is definitely known amongst recruiters as a way to target that specific skill set. Monster, Craigslist, probably a better way to advertise for that job. However, posting on LinkedIn allows you to get finally, you'll want to just click away from researching applicants since their profile serves as an updated record of their professional accomplishments. You can see what groups they've joined, you can see if they have any connections in common, and conduct reference checks. Next, we're going to talk about active candidates, how to advertise your job. So don't be shy. You want to tell everyone you know. Share in your LinkedIn status updates. Share jobs in your LinkedIn groups. Share across your social network. And ensure your client has a company page. Sharing is a key part of reaching the best candidates. There are several easy ways to share posted jobs, both inside the LinkedIn community and through other social networks. When you finish posting a job, click Share on the upper right-hand side of the page to see these sharing options. You can post jobs in LinkedIn status updates or in your profile. Your network is the best place to begin raising awareness about your open positions. That's where you'll find your strongest referrals. Your connections might be interested in the jobs themselves, or they may know some good candidates. Use LinkedIn status updates to tell your network about open positions and add a link to the post itself. Sharing jobs within the LinkedIn groups. So if you've joined, and I would encourage everyone to fully utilize all 50 opportunities to join a group, go through each group and post those jobs by either, actually posting the full job description or updating your status within that particular membership group. And you can also share your jobs with Twitter and Facebook connections. Extend the reach of your LinkedIn job post by sharing it with your other social networks. When you post a job, check the Facebook and Twitter boxes to share these networks. Note, you can also do this later by clicking the Manage Jobs tab. Back to you, Luke.
Thanks, Rachel. So to bring jobs to life, it's probably best to jump into the interface and show you how the job posting and management experience looks on LinkedIn.com. So let me pull up here a job that I posted earlier today. We have a few applicants already for the spreadsheet guru role. First, I'm going to show you the sharing capability. So by checking a few boxes, you can share this job to a range of networks, including LinkedIn groups. And this is a really powerful way to quickly get your job spread across LinkedIn in the relevant places. So you can see there's a type ahead here. So if I use LinkedIn as my prompt, you can see I can share to the LinkedIn Talent Connect group, for example, all in this single modal. And I can forward it to my network. So, for example, I may choose to forward this to one of my connections, Ari, so that he can further distribute this across his network. And we see a lot of strong virality and sharing with jobs. People want to help each other out. Specifically with respect to working with clients, your whole client organization should be ambassadors for the job. So you should be definitely forwarding it to your client contacts, the hiring manager for sure, and then potentially using the company's Twitter hashtag and so on to make sure that that job can be found by people who are interested. A new feature we launched recently is Who's Viewed This Job. This is an analytics feature, and it shows you a lot of detail about the kind of people who are encountering your job through recommendations or through searches. So you can see here, this job was viewed by people from a range of organizations. I guess I was looking for someone with spreadsheet skills, so we had analysts, we had high school students, or teachers, I guess, a real range. But you can see there's very good detail here as opposed to other websites where all you see is clicks. And on the right-hand side, we aggregate some statistics. So you can see here we have job title, a lot of project managers, financial analysts, business analysts, and also company and region. The final thing I want to highlight here is the ability to find references. So if I look at a specific applicant for my role, let's say Shreya, I can search for references on Shreya using this link at the side here, which pulls up a large number, 2,700 users in my network who have worked with her at these positions. And this gives me a very deep list of potential references, which I can filter even further to be very specific. So as you can see, the jobs tool, or the job ad on LinkedIn is a very powerful, deep tool with a lot of analytics behind it, leveraging the power of the network. So I'd encourage you to try that, or have your clients try it and leverage those capabilities. I mentioned earlier jobs you may be interested in. Wanted to come back to that and be specific about where it shows up and the kind of experience that job seekers have. You can see here Erica Robertson is the name of this profile. She's an account executive, and she's got several account executive and senior account executive positions advertised here to her through our recommendations. You'll notice we try to target roles which are both at the same level and the level above what people are currently doing, so that those are compelling options for them. This appears on the homepage, as you can see here. It also appears via email to people who have opted in or taken job-seeking actions. I'd like to hand over now to wrap things up. Rachel is going to talk us through one of her experiences end-to-end recruiting for a role on LinkedIn.
Thanks, Luke. I want to remind everybody that if you have a question, please feel free to tweet it, #LIWebinar. Now we're going to jump into the case study. I have a client, or had a client, who was looking for a technical project and program manager. It was a combination of someone who can code, but no longer actively coded, and someone who can manage projects and people. This person also needed to be able to represent the company with a major client, so client-facing skills were a must. Now, you may be thinking, as a recruiter, as I did, oh my God, great, I'm looking for a unicorn here. I have no idea where I'm going to find this person. Typically, an engineer with the client-facing skill sets don't exist in one person. So I posted a position with the Association of Project Managers, a local chapter here in the San Francisco Bay Area. Figured that'd be a great place to start. And I also posted it on LinkedIn. The title, the Technical Project and Program Manager, was an internal title. So I switched the title externally to Implementation Project Manager in hopes to attract the right candidate or better quality of candidate. So sometimes you may have to tweak the titles versus internal speak and external speak. I used Talent Finder to send out a few choice emails in addition to the LinkedIn posting that I did. I first searched my network using keywords like PMP or technical or project manager, engineering. I then sent out 10 emails and received 6 positive responses. I sent the above email out to all 10 potential candidates. What you can see in the email is that I was very specific, deciding the company, citing that the CIO specifically asked me to reach out to them, which appealed a little bit to the ego. It was somewhat true, and that it was a high visibility role, which is leans to the client-facing piece that I was really looking for in this candidate. Then I also told them that they would be perfect, which actually all 10 of them were. In the end, I got 6 positive responses out of 10. Now, that's a 60% response rate, which is awesome. The company interviewed 3, and we eventually made a successful hire.
Okay, so just to close out here, we've talked about 2 main modes of hiring on LinkedIn, the passive candidate sourcing and search, and the active candidate advertising. And there are 2 leading online products that we offer for those. One is Talent Finder, which is our recruiter search subscription, and the second is Jobs, which we've talked about. The online option for that is the 30-day job post. I'd also like to point out that for those of you at the more sophisticated or large-scale end of the spectrum, we do have our recruiter seat, which gives you a dedicated access portal to LinkedIn's network, and the Recruiter Professional Services product is our top product for agencies. And you can find out more about that at talent.linkedin.com. So with that, we'd love to open it up to questions. We've had a few come through on the hashtag already, so let me start by addressing a couple of those, and then I'd encourage you to post more. We've been asked about Boolean search a couple times, and the answer is yes, Boolean search is absolutely supported. For those of you who haven't tried it, let me just switch over and give a demo of what we mean by Boolean search. So Boolean is really I guess an industry term for using the and, or, and not operators. So if I take the keyword field here, I could search for product manager. I'll often get, let's see how this plays out, but I'll often get product marketing managers. So for example, this search result here is a product marketing manager. So I can just restructure my search to search for the product manager string and not marketing. And this will focus down the search to exclude the term marketing. And you'll see here my front page now contains entirely folks with the product manager in their title. So that's Boolean search. Of course, you can get much more sophisticated. You can use it to rule in and out functions, skills. For example, we often see folks recruiting for technical roles using it to specify programming languages, either in or out. You know, you can go as far as your, I guess, imagination will take you. And you can use the popular operators are and, or, and not. So just a reminder for questions, you want to tweet the hashtag LIWebinar. That's LIWEBINAR. And those will be picked up in our search here. So let's take a look at what else we've been asked. Save searches. Yeah, so we had a question about the availability of these features around the world. In general, our features are pushed globally. We're committed to being available around the world. We're translated now into many languages, and certainly I think we've got some attendees from the UK and Australia. All these features should be available to you. Let me take a look here. Spell check options on InMails. That is a question I've not received before, so thank you to Nick for that. Okay, Rachel has an answer for that.
Yes, I thought the same thing, but the best thing to do with that is to type your InMail content in the Word document and check it, spell check it that way, and then cut and paste it into an actual InMail.
Thanks for that. Now I realize that's not the most seamless experience, so I've got a note here to look at what we could potentially do with the InMail service itself. Just a point that was made here in the room. What we've shown you today is a mix of free and premium services. Specifically on search, the saved search feature is free. You do get increased numbers of saved searches with the premium services, but you can set up basic search alerts for free. The Profile Organizer is a premium service available with the subscriptions. So that's just a clarification. What else do we have? Finally, thank you to our recruiter Asha, who gave us a great shout out on the hashtag there. Apparently, this is a very informative webinar. So, hopefully, that was true for all of you on the call. We want to thank you for attending today. Feel free to reach out to us or the support team here at LinkedIn if you have further questions. And I think we are done.